Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. We are back here, bellied up to the bar. I got my co-host with me. He's back. He's done having, I don't know what, I think he was having like lap band surgery or something like that. I don't know where Dibs was at. Fighting bears.
Something. That's an emotional breakdown. It's all right. Nothing big. I just was out hunting Sasquatch.
Hunting Sasquatch. That's what it'll be. I think it's going to be our new thing. Like when people like disappear on us, we're just going to be like, they were hunting Sasquatch. So we got Dibs with us, but what we have brought with us is, and I might leave this one out here for everyone to figure out who our guest today's twin is that we determined before the show as I looked up who he looked exactly like, what movie character from I'll even give you a hint. It's a famous Keanu Reeves movie that he looks like, who he might actually be. He's a phenomenal musician. His new song, I'm going to promise you right now, is amazing. Has this great vibe of going down the coast or just getting out on the open road with the windows open and turned up. Just one of those like happy, chill vibes, like nothing's bothering you. He's a modern day, what can we say? I don't know. We'll figure it the fuck out. But we brought with us Mr. Kevin Land. I had to cut that. Like new soundboard. I forgot I had to hit it twice. No, it's a live audience. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So we have with us Mr. Kevin Land of the Kevin Land Band. Brother, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Don't say it with more excitement. I need to hear more excitement.
It's great to be here, Sean.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. There it was. But yep. So Kevin's got a new album coming out. Just released a new song that I love called I almost said my blue suede sweater. I don't know where that came from. My blue Windbreaker, but it does blue. That might be another song. That could be another song.
Another song. Yeah, there you go.
Got another song in me today. Got songs all over the place. But we got Mr. Kevin Land of the Kevin Land Band here with us today. We're going to be talking about his music, how he got into music. Why would somebody even be interested in getting into music? That's always one of those things to me that I'm very interested in. And who knows what other left turns we'll make today. So as we're getting ready to do this, let's go ahead and get our house cleaning done. As always, those of you that are joining us, please share this on every social media site that you got, anywhere that you watch videos, all your Facebook yard sale sites, so we can get banned from every single one of them. Make sure you're doing that for us. As always, over my right shoulder, we have sticker and a cause. Look at how well you can see the Raven sticker now. I want you all to see how large it looks and in charge. Look at that. We're
so
making
sad.
it happen. Remember, he is LaMarvelous. I can't even. I love Lamar. Our defense sucks ass this year. But make sure you're if you have something that you're supporting, you've got a band, you've got a podcast or your own, anything whatsoever. I don't really care what it is. Reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, even our email. It's all the Above the Bar podcast. Send us a message over. Let us know what you got going on. We will then tell you what the address to send it to. You send it to me. I'll put your sticker up on the big board, and you'll get a free advertisement on the show. It'll go to all those locations that we broadcast in, and people will hear about you. So make sure you do that for us. Also, if your media kind of sounds like it doesn't know what it's doing, and it sounds like, it's playing a recorder, like in third grade, the recorder, and you need to upgrade that, make sure you reach out to Media by Dibs. That's Media by Dibs on Instagram and Facebook, DIBS. And if you go on the LinkedIn, it's going to be Andrew Dibble, DIBBLES. Make sure you mention Belly Up to the Bar. He's going to give you a 10%. Don't shake your head. You love it.
You added an S to my name.
I added an S.
Dibbles.
Dibbles. He's got a little cute dibbles on his face. Look at them. They're just the cutest dibbles. But reach out. I didn't even realize I added an S to it. But reach out to Andrew Dibble. He'll get you all hooked up. His wife's going to add that to an S to the end of it now. Reach out, mention to him, belly up to the bar. He's going to give you a 10% discount on your first order and a free consultation. All right. House cleaning is done. Mr. Kevin Land, again, welcome to the show, brother.
All right.
I've been looking forward to this one. I have to tell you, I love your music.
Thank
And
you.
you've got a pretty good sized library. How many total albums do you have out there? Like I was on your SoundCloud. There's a lot.
It's confusing. So Kevin Land Band has the one song out, Blue Windbreaker, you referenced. I, as a solo artist, before launching the band officially, put out over 100 songs on Spotify. So solo, just like writing 3 songs a month for a few years and just like churning them out. Yeah. So over 100.
That's a lot of tunage, brother.
A lot of songs.
That's a lot of creativity there.
Something like that. Yeah.
I have 0.0 creativity. I just want you to know that. Like I'm the most uncreative person you know. And I tell Dibs this all the time. He's like, no, you're doing it. I feel like when I make a post and Dibs looks at it, it's like my dad going like, it's okay, son. You'll learn to color inside the lines.
One day.
I'll hang it on the fridge for you.
Like that's where all my posts go to is hanging on the fridge. Well, we talked a little bit about Blue Windbreaker. You want to kind of give it a little bit of an opening before we play it here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I love that you accidentally called it the wrong thing, because that the idea of the song is like just being in touch with your favorite outfit, like your favorite piece of clothing or your lucky charm or whatever. And that's what inspired the song. So I was getting good reactions from it, playing it out around town, and decided that would be the first Kevin Land Band song.
All right, folks. Well, here it is. The Kevin Land. I keep wanting to, and there's no the in front of it. I keep wanting to put a the in front of it.
People call us Kevin Land Band, the Kevin Land Band, Kevin Land Good Times Band. Like you can just, but Kevin Land Band is all it is.
So here it is. Kevin Land Band, Blue Windbreaker.
Nothing feels better than being all in, with the odds stacked against me 9 times out of 10. And knowing despite that I will prevail, because I wear my luck now from my head to tail. I can't lose in my blue windbreaker and brown shoes.
Brother, I'm sorry. Every time I hear it, like it's got that vibe. Like I just need to vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that's one of those just relax, like just stop and just put it on and just kind of calm yourself down.
You're awesome. like it's got like, oh, the edible has started to work. like you look over, like that song's playing and you can see some guy that just took an edible and all of a sudden he went, yeah, that's it. I'm on it now. It's got them good vibes. So now, like you said, this was just like, hey, get in touch with your favorite outfit. Where is that your process? Like I've talked to so many musicians over the time of doing this and knowing musicians, and it feels like nobody says that they have the same process. They're either like, I hunker myself down with 15 pizzas, a bottle of Coke, and all I do is write. And then the next guy's like, no, I stubbed my toe and went, and oh shit, there's a song there.
Yeah, I mean, there's usually some overeating and maybe kombucha instead of Coke involved, but like, no, I mean, I mentioned earlier just how many songs I put out, and like my theory has always been like consistency is the most important thing, and then like if you're lucky and get inspired, you will like write a cool song just because you're like practiced at literally coming up with rhymes or whatever. And so the concept of that song was just like, it was like just a title idea that came to mind, and I kind of stared at it for a while, and then one day it was like, here's a song.
It was your eureka moment, huh?
Something like that.
I couldn't. I'm lucky I can write my name.
Yes, same.
Yeah,
like to be able to do that many songs and not a chance.
I mean, some of the songs are pretty dumb too, but I mean, Sean is hard to spell. There's like multiple ways. Sometimes it's SEAN, so I wouldn't be too hard on myself.
I was always that kid growing up. Like the teacher would be like, your cubby's right there. I'm like, there's no cubby with my name on it. And the teacher would get mad at me and be like, yes, it is. This was the 70s and early 80s. Yes, it is. And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, and they would point at it and it would say SEAN. And I would be like, that's not me.
You work so hard to know how to spell your name as a kid, and then you're like, no, that like it's just a shot at your pride.
Just shit all over.
Yep.
So has anyone that's out there watching right now figured out who Kevin looks like? I just want to see if anyone else. Nate, if you're out there, tell me if you figured it out. Nate's already popped on for a minute. Nate is a good friend of the show. He's actually, this is interesting. He actually had a question for you there, Dibs. Is your co-host onto the paranormal?
Meaning how?
Like, are you into it? Like, are you into the paranormal? That's an interesting question.
I am. Here we go. Let's go left side. Let's
like I told you, it doesn't take much. Because now I'm going to ask Kevin. Because now I'm curious about Kevin. What do you think, Kevin?
Paranormal? I mean, I've often identified as an alien. It's just, like I'm in this world but not of it. I've even like alluded to extraterrestrials and song lyrics and stuff. So I'm here for it. Yeah.
Well, you're a pretty outdoorsy guy, right? I feel like you're a pretty in the outdoors, disconnect kind of a guy, right?
I love to, yeah. Especially over the last year, I've really like ramped it up with some bigger adventures. Yeah.
Sasquatch, yes or no?
It could be me, could be you. I don't know. Like he's out there.
No, I want a straight answer. Sasquatch, yes or no?
I haven't seen him, but he could be. I'm hopeful that he's there. Yeah.
You're hopeful that he's there. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with it.
We deserve it.
So Sean does look like Bigfoot going gray. Look at this asshole.
Yeah.
Nathan.
The abuse already. So I'm kind of curious. So you, like you said, consistency, you're racking out these, but do you have a process, or is it just, hey, I sit down and I write? I just, whatever sounds like it. Do you have a process?
Yeah, I mean, I do, and it changes too, right? Like when I put out all that music, my process was to release, and defining release is like put on Spotify, YouTube, all the places online, right? I'm going to release 3 songs a month. So that was my process. Okay. And like I had a bunch of songs written because I've been writing in the background my whole life, and either just as a release, like, hey, I'll go through a phase of a few months where I journal every day and that'll turn into some songs. I did let me write a chorus a day for 45 days because some podcast or something suggested I do a 45-day challenge. So I usually like give myself a reason more than anything. And it'll be some level of like, I need to stay grounded in this thing that I love doing, that I think I'm kind of good at sometimes. So like, I just don't lose it. And then I'll like stick to it for a while, and then I'll like hit a finish line, take a break, and then like reset.
Now is music all you do? And what I mean by that is like, is this what pays the bills, or how? What are? Yeah. Look at that shit! I can't even speak today. Dibs, take it.
No, yeah. So I mean, is that to say it? Is it your day job? I mean, or do you do other things? Like, what's your is this your living?
See, look, neither one of us assholes can talk.
Yeah, no, we're doing great tonight.
It's a challenging question. It's a loaded question, right? Because like, I think being a full-time musician is a very like idealized position to be in, and I prefer the term a permanent musician. And of course, I get paid sometimes to make music or write music. Like I went on a month-long adventure last year, and I came home and had 2 checks from ASCAP that I wasn't expecting. I was like, "This is awesome, right?" So yeah, what's that?
Where were they from?
ASCAP.
ASCAP?
Yeah. It's like one of the online. It's one of the companies that collect royalties when your songs are played out in the world. So that was exciting. It was like extra money I wasn't expecting. It's my favorite way to get paid. It's not always the biggest way I get paid. So I do work in other fields often, and I found that to be a very fulfilling way to go. If Blue Windbreaker or any song like showed up in the next Keanu Reeves movie and I got a fat paycheck, I might like reorganize my life around that. But I haven't needed to, and that's made things like as easygoing as possible and as interesting as possible. And that's been my approach. And my thought too is like, if you were making most of your money from music, you like wouldn't limit your income to music at that point. You'd be open to making money other ways still, I hope, or you'd like be maybe financially enabled to make good decisions. So that's my approach. Is like, it's my favorite way to get money. Sometimes I do, sometimes more, sometimes less. And in the meantime, like, will not limit other sources of revenue just because I like music. Like that wouldn't make sense.
Oh, did we lose? Who's frozen? We froze up a Dibs. I'm good. Dibs is frozen.
Still here.
So my next question was going to be, now, are you
Yep.
a lifelong musician, or were
There
you
we go.
like a COVID musician where, COVID kind of hit and you went, I've always wanted to learn to play the guitar. I'm going to play the guitar.
No, it has been lifelong. I think I started on. I mean, both my parents were musicians. My dad plays piano. My mom sings. And when I was really little, like maybe 5, 6, 7, I wasn't doing anything with that. But I think my neighbor Andrew down the street was playing piano. He's getting piano lessons, and I had to do everything he was doing. So I got same teacher, signed up, and I like took to it. I was like, oh, this is like. In school, I've been good at like learning languages and grammar type stuff, and reading music and learning music was similarly easy for me. Now it's been 20 years since I could easily read sheet music. I cannot do that anymore, but I've been playing since then. And like my older brother, he's 8 years older than I am. Like he was playing guitar a few years after I started piano, so I like copied him. And then I got really into it myself more in high school, and then since then I've just had varying degrees of obsession. So when the pandemic hit. Richard Schiff. I'll just check him out too. During the pandemic, I was already in the middle of that 3 songs a month challenge I'd given myself. So it actually lined up really well with being stuck at home and not going out. So I was like, well, I'm already spending more time here than most people might. So let me just double down on that. Yeah.
Were you always acoustic, or did you dabble electric at all, or were you always, obviously you've got an acoustic hanging in the back, but were you always that avenue, or did you want to try to dabble in high school and be that rocker with the electric? But
oh, dude, I shred electric, dude. I love playing electric guitar. Like the first song, Blue Windbreaker, like that recording is pretty acoustic, but the next one is called You're Doing It All Wrong. That's coming out late October. That one's got like a shredding guitar solo in it, but
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's still somewhat acoustic. Like when we play live shows, I only bring in electric. Like I'll play a Blue Windbreaker electric version or whatever. It's just
nice.
This is the current rendition of the production, but like I don't like to limit us. I just want us to be like, I want us to have a sound as a band, and this is where it's begun. So yeah, this song was more acoustic for sure. But yeah, I love all instruments, and electric guitar is probably my favorite.
I think that's the case with so many people. I know my cousin plays a lot of acoustic, but then we'll sit there and musicians blow my mind where he'll be like, oh yeah, I know that. Like, oh yeah, I think I know that. And go and play it on the piano. I'm like, nope, I hate you. So nope.
Yeah. I'm with Dibs on that one. And so the next song that's coming out is You're Doing It Wrong.
You're doing it all wrong.
You're doing it all wrong. So you definitely did live with a Marine after college. There's no doubt in my mind, because at some point in time, that motherfucker said to you, you're doing it all wrong. Give me that shit right now. You are doing it all wrong.
No, he was actually, and he was several years older than I was too. So he was actually a good like disciplinary influence, both when he was being disciplined and both when he wasn't, as an inspiration of what not to do. But fitness goals and what I could be doing in 5 years. And we actually DJ'd together. So like I took a detour from like instrumental music for a few years where I was really focused on like DJing in nightclubs, producing music electronically, which is how I was able to record so much of my own instrumental music when I came back to it, as I got really familiar with the tools as like a dance music producer.
Nate's over here sending me text messages with pictures of Schiff, and he's like, see, I'm like, nope, that's not the one. I'm telling you folks, if you go back, check out Kevin Land Band. That's Kevin Land Band at Instagram, Facebook. What about Twitter, Twitch, anywhere else?
I guess on Twitter I'm just Kevin Land, but I haven't. I would say Instagram and SoundCloud and Spotify are the best places to look for me and stay updated for sure.
And they're all Kevin Land Band, and I promise you, especially if you find the picture of him floating down the river in Montana that we used for a few of the posts, even more so there. When you see this, I want you to think about a mind-bending Keanu Reeves movie that he looks like a character from. And the best I can tell you is this character was kind of a Judas. That's my hint for you, is this character was kind of a Judas. If you can figure that one out before this show is over with, send me the answer. We'll post it up here. I'll get your information. I'll send you a shirt out, courtesy of me, if you can figure it out. but I promise you, you'll sit there and once you see it, you're gonna go, some bitch, it's right there.
There's a guy.
So you've got all this going on now. Kevin Land band is made up of who?
Sure. So we've had a few lineups, and my latest is there's 5 of us. So I'm playing guitar and singing. My best friend in Long Beach, Matt, is the drummer. He builds drum sets. They're called beatbox drums, and they're like these compact, like the whole drum set fits inside the box, but it sounds like a big fucking drum set. So we met a few years ago just playing gigs in Long Beach, and have become super homies. And he really helped unlock the concept of Kevin Land Band, because like, you know, I was actually hesitant to use that as a band name like years ago. And he's been there from day one of Kevin Land Band, the current iteration. Like he's been there. So about 3-4 years, we've been like friends and building this concept together. Most recent additions, most recent addition is that we have a guy, Shaheen, on synth. He's only played 1 show with us so far, but he's a synthesizer.
Oh, synthesizer. Yeah. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm lucky I can play the radio.
Yeah, you're doing great, by the way. But synth, he's and not just like, that's where you get like that modern, like just sense of depth and bigness at a show, right? Like, because, you know, everyone plays guitar, but like you add that like supersonic like level of just like atmosphere, and suddenly it's like you're at a festival, you're in a movie, like it just creates that extra layer. So he's playing. We have a show tomorrow night in Long Beach, and there's 5 of us playing, so that'll be our first all 5 of us together. But he and I played a show a few weeks ago with Chelsea Velasquez. She's the most recent, she's the second most recent addition, I guess. She just sings backup vocals and really co-lead on a few songs that I've written. Or now we're getting to a point where we're playing songs she's written, which I really enjoy too, because despite the name of the band, I'm not like, it's not about just my music or whatever. Like I just think the band name works better.
It does work. It rolls off the tongue well.
Yeah. So I'm in no means like my songs or else. Like we're here to like share good music, and she writes great songs too. So duets and co-leads and whatever. So she's come in and added a lot. And I'm actually moving out of this apartment you see in 2 days, and she's moving in. So like we're switching places.
Nice. Bro, you have nothing packed. What are you doing?
No. Like there's a lot of boxes. I kept them out.
Oh, okay. Like I'm looking on the wall. I'm looking on the wall here and thinking to myself, like, dude, you're out in 2 days. You are really in denial right now.
I'm moving 3 blocks away. It's going to be fine. We're going to figure it out. But yeah, so that's 4 of us. And then Brian Narvi is a high school friend, actually, he just run on bass. And bass has been the hardest position to keep filled. We've had 4 or 5 bassists in 3-4 years, and varying levels of commitment and skill. But Brian, like we've been friends since high school, and we've never played in a band together somehow, but we've both been playing in bands ever since. And one day it just occurred to me to reach out to him. I think for this recording was really the first time he got involved, and when he played, because we had another really good bassist before that, but he moved a couple hours away to, you know, be married and have kids and stuff, and we're stoked for him. But yeah, Brian was still available, and he plays in a few projects, but he showed up really big for us, and we've done maybe 3 or 4 shows together with him now. And yeah, we're stoked. He was COVID positive until yesterday, so he's going to make the show tomorrow. We're stoked about that.
Well, tell everybody about where is the show tomorrow. I know this will go out tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
So maybe some folks can catch it.
And holler, yeah. So, and I'm not sure if it'll be online, but it's part of an event in Long Beach called Sweet Sounds. Like, you know, it's at a chocolate shop out front, in front of the chocolate shop. So it's called Sweet Sounds. It's typically an open mic. It's a once-a-month open mic. However, because it's the 5-year anniversary tomorrow, it's more of a showcase. And there's a lot of great talents playing, you know, a few songs each. And then Kevin Land Band is one of 2 headliners. So we'll be playing around like 8:30, 9 p.m. Pacific time. The full 5-piece band. It's at a place called Kubo, which is like an abandoned church in Long Beach. Really cool setup. There's like, yeah, it's just a really fun vibe. It's like I used to go to so many open mics. Now I only go to one, and it's the Sweet Sounds event. But tomorrow it's a showcase. So yeah, if you follow Kevin Land Band on Instagram, you can find out details. If you're in the area and want to show up, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of other great bands playing, or solo acts both. So yeah, but first time for all 5 of us together, which is great because we have a bigger show in about a month where we'll get to play a whole set and everything too. This is like 4 or 5 songs tomorrow.
Nice.
So being in Long Beach and being in SoCal type thing, have you guys done any, like, I'll call it street performing, but I know when I was living out there, some of the musicians that I heard that were on the beach and stuff were phenomenal. I mean, and it's just, and sometimes you'd be like, oh yeah, it's someone that's just out there performing. They just want to do it. And it turns out that they've actually sold and have 200 songs out there. Like, is that something that you guys do and do that street performing aspect of it to gain some attention there?
Done some of that. So, I mean, there is, busking, as it's known, like there is a big contingent of that. Busking, it just means performing on the street. I learned that word like 3 years ago, and I've been doing it for a lot of my life. So don't feel too bad.
Keep using words I don't know. Keep playing around.
I'm here to educate.
I'm just going to take ASCAP to sleep with him.
I love it. So I'm up to ASCAP, synth, and boinking. What the hell was it?
Boinking.
I don't know. What was it?
Busking. Yeah.
Busking.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm busking right now.
Yeah. And I'd say I've actually done more of it in Long Beach. I used to live in San Francisco. We did some there too, but as a 5-piece band, no. But like me and Matt, the drummer I mentioned, like his drum sets are especially great because you can set up a big loud kit.
That's kind of what made me think of it, because you said that it was so compact. That's perfect for setting up on a beach or setting up on the sidewalk right there.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like Long Beach, I mean LA too, but I do this more in Long Beach. Like they're good about like, hey, we're doing like an art walk this weekend. We'll pay you, or like we'll put you in front of a business that'll pay you to come play for a few hours, and your friends walk by, and you like make up songs about the people walking by, and like, yeah, it's a good time, and it is. Yeah, we always promote ourselves if we do something like that for sure. But the full band, I don't know. Like I've been, especially like, before Kevin Land Band, it was like, yeah, me and Matt would just go do it on the corner. But like, as far as promoting Kevin Land Band as like a brand or whatever, like we really started to get steam before the pandemic, then like hit pause, changed a lot of band members over the next couple of years. And like, now that we're like back to being able to book shows, I'm being a little selective and making sure that like, hey, if we're going to all be available, let's all put some effort into showing up and getting people to show up. Which typically is like a little more exciting for me if it's like in a cool venue versus like, what are y'all doing? Let's walk down to the street corner. Like, which is fun.
I give you that vibe.
It's a different experience,
Well, I feel like if that's an abandoned church, I mean, churches are known for having some kick-ass acoustics. Like to have the sound inside a abandoned church, I feel like would be really good for you guys playing.
It's pretty epic. And actually tomorrow, I'm not sure if we're in the church or out. They do shows in both. And either way, it's a great venue, like the outdoor space.
That is the Lord's house, and you are welcome.
Yes.
You are welcome in there.
Thank the Lord for that.
Listen to me. That is the Lord's house, and you are welcome in there. And if they tell you you're not, tell them that's a real problem. That's a real problem.
Sounds good. I'll let him
I've been watching a lot of Father Brown, a lot of British priest crime show. And there's a lot of singing and acoustics in a church. So
interesting.
So as you're moving along with this, and really, like you said, you started getting some traction. 2020 hits. It's March. The world's gonna fall apart until we all realize that maybe not. The billionaires were losing money. They ain't trying to hear this.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how that works? This is no longer real. The billionaires are losing money, and we're all sitting here. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's amazing how that works. In a minute here, my shit's gonna glitch because one of them's gonna be like, "What did he say?" Okay, good. Shut that shit right down. Look, it's kind of like us.
Man shouldn't butt into anything that ain't his own affair.
It's kind of like that. So, I love this soundboard. I've already been harassed about it. I had to find some way to use John Wayne. But so as you're starting to gain new steam and moving that direction, so the music industry is always odd to me, and it's always one of these worlds where it's truly the difference between making a left and making a right, and the right person being in the room. How in this modern way of doing it are you trying to separate yourself? Because I know you're playing gigs, you've got yourself, you're doing all these songs, but what are some of the things that if somebody was out there now and was like, hey, I want to get into this and I really want to get myself out there, what are some of the things you would suggest, or things you even wish you would have done that you feel maybe, man, if I'd have done this at the beginning, we'd have been this much further?
Yeah, totally. And like, I mean, this much further, like define success for yourself, right? Like what is success? And then think about how you want to get there. And ultimately like be a good person, like have a good attitude. Like you do, yeah, turning left, turning right, having the right person in the room. Like you can be in the room with an executive and be really talented, but if you're like rude or you don't listen or take feedback well, like they're not going to work with you, right? So it's like it's a business. Like you have to be able to collaborate with people and trust people and yeah, take feedback. It's like a very personal thing. So I know that like getting comfortable hearing why people didn't like something I wrote was something that took like some practice early on, where now it's like whatever, I don't care if you like my stuff. But like that wasn't always easy. So I think getting comfortable with that, like even the biggest, most successful musicians in the world are hated by millions of people. So like, get comfortable.
It's the Nickelback effect. Like I never understood this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, well, you haven't made it. You haven't made it until you have people that hate you. I mean that's kind of the old adage is you gotta, yeah.
And say yes to stuff. Like don't be like it's good to say yes. Someone invites you to play a thing, like go try it, see how it goes, and like don't be overly attached to outcomes or perfection, right? Because like I've seen like such incredibly talented people who are like about to release a song for the last 6 years, and it's like when it finally happens, it might not be that excited because you've just been like you build it up and build it up in your head, and it's like just get comfortable with stuff, putting stuff out, so that like you can move on. Because I think people
that's 6 years that you don't. Oh, I'm frozen.
Sorry, what'd you say, Dibs?
No, my computer. No, I was saying, yeah, it's 6 years that you could have been writing that many more songs and really finding yourself throughout that. So
absolutely, like do it. I have, and I know people or have had friends or worked with people who are like very professional, full-time, highly financially successful musicians, right? And like the advice they give, if I ask, is like just make sure you love it. Like do it because you love it. Like it can be a job and you can love your job, but like if you're you don't want to hate it or be stressed out about it, right? Like you do it. You started this because you like it, and like you should continue to love it and do it for that reason primarily.
Now, Dibs keeps freezing. It's so funny. You're not frozen right now, but it's funny when you freeze, Dibs. So
it's
Nate,
Starlink.
it's Skynet.
The hamster died. Okay, just let it bring back to life real quick.
Dibs does all of his recordings from a bomb shelter that he dug himself with a spork.
I live in the middle of absolutely nowhere, Michigan. Like absolutely nowhere, and I've got Starlink. So thanks, Elon. Like at least I have somewhat good internet.
You and the Iranians.
Yep.
Did you see that? Side complete left turn here. Did you see that?
No. So Iran is using Starlink, or
so I love this one. So I hope you guys love the Iranians because it's not Elon, it's the American people are providing them with internet access. He's actually like they're doing something and like airdropping stuff into Iran because the Iranian government shut off the internet because they were tired of all the rioting, and we're dropping Skylink or Skynet or whatever it's called into Iran. And at first people were like, this is so great, our government. And then people were like, Elon's not paying for that shit. You are. And people are like, what? That's bullshit. That's bogus. This is so I don't know. Dibs. Actually, we'll let Kevin pick this one. Kevin, pick a number between 1 and 2.
1.6.
There you go. So that means this one. So Tim says, Dibs, he can't tell when you freeze or when you're unfreezing.
Do you want me to I'll just have a clock behind me or something, or I'll just randomly do fingers.
There you go.
You're gonna have to do something. And then this is definitely for you. Nate's most important question that he asks during every show for us is, what is your favorite go-to food?
For me, right? So it's funny, like where I live, up until I've been living in this apartment for 6.5 years. I'm moving in a couple days, like I mentioned, and up until within the last 6 months, maybe there was this little hole in the wall Mexican food joint like 2 blocks away, which wasn't the best Mexican food and restaurant in Long Beach by any means, but it was the closest. So I would go and I'd get tacos and French fries, because they also were like, let's serve burgers and fries at this joint, right? So tacos and fries with like a cold Mexican Coke bottle. And then if I was really going for it, I might hit the liquor store next door and get like some sour beers to wash it down. and like ice
You
cream.
like the sour beer? You like this? Hold on, man. So you said kombucha earlier, and now sour beer.
Yeah, of
He's in
course.
SoCal, man. He's
Yeah.
in SoCal.
It's a
That
different
is-
universe.
Oh, like I tried kombucha one time, and I was like, ooh. And then probably like a couple years later, my wife came home she was like, oh, it's try this, and I'm like, I'm of the firm belief, don't ever just dismiss something after one try.
Yeah.
You got to try it again if it's a food. And I tried it again, and I'm like, no. And sour beer, it got one shot. I went to Ithaca Brewing up in Ithaca, New York, and they had a if you're ever in the area, phenomenal restaurant. The brewery restaurant's so cool. Your music would play so well in Ithaca. You have no idea how well your music would play in Ithaca. Cornell is right there. Like your vibe, they would love you out there. Like they might make you the mayor. You know,
Cool.
they might.
Possibility.
There's a good possibility, but
Nice.
I had a sour beer there, and I was like, I walked it right back up to the woman because I had heard it on like somebody was like, "Oh, sour beer is amazing," and I walked it back up to the bartender, and I was like, "I can't drink this." She goes, "I completely understand." Poured it out and gave me like their main beer is called Flower Power.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Here's the Flower Power." I'm like, "Perfect, thank
Much
you."
better.
I was like, "Oh,
That's hilarious.
oh, it was so bad for me." So, so a lot of these shows I'm hearing in your local area, around the Long Beach area, things like that. Anything coming up where you might be leaving Cali, traveling around anywhere else?
More of a priority coming into next year, because in the past, like I have a lot of friends and connections up in Northern California, down in San Diego, Jackson, Mississippi, all the way out to Maine. So like I'm very interested. This is the first time where I have like so many people in the band and so many places we could play. And I'd say like my planning and my like day-to-day like focus as far as logistics were concerned this year really actually veered towards like physical activity, some of the outdoor stuff you've been seeing. I just like entered an ultra marathon last weekend that required a lot of training.
100 miles?
Yeah, I only made it to 57 after a lot of puke.
Oh,
but
only 57.
Oh,
I'm lucky if I make it to 57 feet.
Listen to me. 20 years in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't get me to run during those days. They'd have been like, "Oh, Gunny, you're running 100 miles." I'd have been like, "Oh, you better get that Humvee ready to drive my ass."
Yeah. Yeah. So my point is like, I've been doing that every weekend. I've been doing that every week. Like I've been living and breathing it in a lot of ways while continuing to make music and try to move apartments and do all this other shit. So I've been overwhelmed. But now I've got the band, the full band, and a variety of places around the country that we could play. So I do want to plan something more further reaching. You know, we've got the one single out. We got another one next month, and I'd say no later than the third one, which will be early next year. I think we need to like get out of Long Beach and play some more shows for sure.
Well, how long till a full album then? Like, I mean, you've got would you say 100 songs?
Yeah.
It sitting on Spotify. Obviously, the band members, you could share the music. Everybody can go through it, figure out what their favorite is. We're making this shit happen right now.
Yeah.
What I need you to do is go ahead and share the 100 songs with the other band members.
Yeah.
20 songs per.
Yeah.
Everybody picks their favorite 5. They share those 5 with the next person next to them who picks 3 of those.
Yeah.
That breaks down to now 15 songs. You have 15 songs. Of those 15 songs, you go ahead and you record them, and then you got a whole album. You didn't realize I was that talented to figure this shit out.
Yeah, that math you just did, it's fast math on the fly. I'm blown away. Yeah, well done. No, you're right. I think like originally, because I was doing I was in such a mindset of like 3 at a time, keep going. So like when we started recording for the band, we're re-recording some of those, the 100 you mentioned, right? Like it was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to release, we're going to release a whole album next year. And like, that was sort of the plan. But a lot of people I talk to, like industry friends and contacts, it's like, it's more like releasing consistently is really valuable too. And like, so for now, we've only recorded 3 songs as a band. One is out, you've heard it, you've played it. Another one's coming out, another one's coming out. And between now and then, yeah, we'll get back in the studio. We'll record 2 or 3 more, and then after that, we'll record 2 or 3 more, and then it's a decision of like, well, do we release a full album of everything recorded? Do we re-record 10 to 15 new songs? And you're right. It's like there is the filtration process because I play songs out and I'm surprised by which ones people like and don't like. And that plays into it, you know, tweak a few lyrics here and there, whatever. But I don't know. We could put an album out next year, but if the single release strategy keeps working, like I'm not going to force it, I guess, basically. I forced 3 songs a month out for 3 years and that was really fulfilling. But I was ready to force an album out, but just after starting the process, it didn't seem necessary to like make that a priority so much as like keep building community around the music and around the experience. And that's been really successful. And I feel more in touch with the people who are supporting me as a musician in the last 1 year since I actually stopped releasing songs aggressively and just have the catalog to share and like use as a way to connect with people. That there's like a lot more traction and a lot more momentum going on around any individual like musical event or moment in the band's trajectory.
So Sean mentioned it earlier about the brewery and how like you do have that like brewery type, like that really relaxed vibe. Have you, I mean, like obviously being in SoCal and mentioning the outdoors and stuff, have you made your way up to Big Bear and done any shows up there? Any of that type of thing? I feel like your vibe would be super good up in Big Bear, down in Temecula, like the brewery, winery type thing.
Dude, it's crazy that you mentioned both Big Bear and Temecula. Not as a full band, but I got booked in Big Bear last summer. It was like a nice paying gig. It was a long drive, but it paid enough. So I was like, okay. I drove out and it was like a combination of covers and originals for like 45 minutes for an angling competition. So like,
nice.
Like fishing, angling?
Yeah. So I was like, just play through the afternoon. I was like, Eagle song, Kevin Land song, Beatles song, Kevin Land song. I was just like, you know, moving them all together. And that was a great day. That was like a Sunday. And then Temecula is actually, I haven't played a gig there per se, but I have a really important musical connection to Temecula and some friends who are the daughters of the bass player from the band Free, which had a big hit song in the 70s called All Right Now, which is like in every car commercial you've ever seen or whatever. If you look it up, you will instantly know the song. But like they, you know, Andy Fraser, the bass player from that band and writer of that song, he passed away maybe 6-7 years ago now. And these girls, Hannah and Jasmine, inherited his old home in Temecula. And it's like 5 acres, and every few months they'll just like put an invite out to their artist community. And I know them through a mutual friend who's in San Francisco. And, you know, they'll just host us for a few days, and it's like a little mini Burning Man showcase, DJ music. So Temecula,
that's fun. Yeah.
My music plays in Temecula, but in a unique and atypical context.
Well, Temecula's that mix of wine country, brewery, like it's such a because it's right there between LA, and that's when I lived in Murrieta for a little while. So it's that mix, like, oh, where do you live? I'm like, I'm an hour south of LA and I'm an hour north of San Diego. Like it's just that mixing point of so many different cultures and stuff out there. Like you go to a country bar, which all the Marines went to, Sean, it was very was it like the Stampede, I think, is something that's downtown Temecula. But yeah.
I went to one country bar in my entire life. Once. One. We'll never go again. Have 0.0 interest. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that somebody goes, won't go to a country bar. But what's crazy about that is 2 of my favorite artists right now, like modern artists that I really enjoy, is Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson.
Nose on the grindstone.
Like, love both of them. Would go see them. Another one that's coming around here that I've been turning a lot of people onto that I really love is Marcus King. And I like jam band. And that's kind of I listened to some of your music, and I definitely got kind of a jam band vibe going on there. Is that something you would go, that you like to go towards? Or is it more that's kind of like, yeah, we got a little bit of that vibe, but it's not really what I enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more part of the vibe than necessarily like what I'm going for. I love, like, in 8th grade, I was obsessed with like Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page, and they put out all those like DVDs with like, here's Stairway to Heaven, but the guitar solo is 12 times longer than you're used to, and like
48 minutes for Stairway to Heaven. Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I'm really into that idea, like the live version being way more of a jam, but like, and I've gone to a Fish show and taken acid and had a great time for sure. But like, I'm not necessarily like trying to write 18-minute songs or anything either. You know that a Fish, well, I read this years ago, I don't know if it's still true, but there are 4 guys in that band, and like after every show they each get into their own private bus, and then they text each other like all night, like being like, what do you think of the show? Like, oh, I don't know, that song we played the 3rd song in was like, that was crazy. Oh, what about that fan you saw in the 6th song? Like, I just think that's hilarious that they're like,
that strikes me as something Fish would do.
Well, where Dibs is kind of from. I mean, out this way, and where I live in Albany, New York, Fish is huge out here. They do now. They moved their New Year show. It used to be always up in this area. Now they do it out of Madison Square Garden.
Wow, yeah, they're huge, man. And like, I do like also like during the pandemic, something really cool happened in Long Beach. Is like, especially before venues were even slightly close to reopening, is like outdoor shows started happening all the time. So even if we were playing, song after song, it'd be like, you'd see this a lot, right? Like, hey, it's either an open mic or like, hey, we're going to have Kevin Land Band play, and then we're going to have this other band play, and then we're going to have an open jam for 30 minutes. And like everyone would just jump and grab an instrument, and like I would be playing drums, and like I'm not a great drummer. Like it'd just be fun, So that's like that jam band energy, or like the feel good level of it. And then, every now and then you'd be like, holy shit, like those guys ripped for the last 15 minutes. Who are they? So that's something I appreciate and enjoy and like bring into the equation, but I wouldn't say it's what we're going for necessarily.
So like you obviously, you were talking about like the whole pandemic and putting out so many songs. Did you do any essentially live shows? I know a couple of band, like I'm a huge Bumpin' Uglies fan, which is like that Sublime type feel.
Nice.
Type thing, but they did a whole, like the lead singer just himself did a whole release where like every Thursday he would go live for an hour. Like, did you think about doing any of that stuff? Would you do any of that stuff just to, kind of not necessarily keep yourself relevant, but just to anyone that listens to you to kind of give them something to go with? And it's a whole different feel in home studio type deal.
Yeah, and I did some on my own. I got like booked to play a couple online shows like that through people that I knew in LA and such, and I enjoyed it. I took I don't know if you guys heard about Clubhouse. That was an app that got really popular. Funny.
Yep.
So that was like part of my like in-person, right? Like I had a writer workshop called Aim for the Heart I was going to every week in person. That moved to Clubhouse at one point, and through that I met some other guy who met some other guy, and like I was on this app, like this streaming app, for a couple months where I would just get on the stream every morning, and like it was actually a contract. It was really weird. It was kind of like Twitch or something where like you could get paid if you had a certain amount of viewers and a certain amount of like.
Was that Fireside?
It was called Bigo, actually, Bigo. I think it was from Singapore, something like that.
Sounds.
And I don't know. It never really took off for me, but like I gave it a go. It was like I remember I would occasionally, like, some woman would sign in and she would stick with me for like 90 minutes and just like ask me questions when I played songs. So that was cool, like a great way to like connect very specifically with like one person, which I think goes a long way. But I have a hard time like building an audience, especially when like I'm not actually talking to anyone. Like here we're online, but we're like all chatting with each other, and it's like to just sing on the screen and then like read the notes and be like, oh yeah.
Brother, I got to give you this because 110%. I have tried. When I started doing podcasting, I was like, well, I could just talk out into the ether. I'll just get it all off my chest. And I realized that like 10 minutes into that, I felt like a crazy person. That like I'm just talking out into nothing and there's no one responding back. It's like talking to my children. It's like no one is responding to this. So I understand exactly what you mean. That's why I like what we're on right now, StreamYard. That's why I like StreamYard, because people can interact and have a conversation. I am curious. So, and this has probably come up to you before, but is there any, like, I'm always curious of this with musicians. Is there any particular artist right now or that you listen to? Because I know who I think you would be an amazing opener for. Two different bands come to mind to me, but I think it's my age and our age. But is there any bands that you're like, hey, I would love to be a co-headliner with or open for, somebody that for you, like this is your dream to be able to be with them?
Yeah, and I mean, a bunch of names were running through my mind when you asked that. One artist came earlier this year around the time Taylor Hawkins died for the first time. I I considered that like, I don't think we sound like Foo Fighters, but I think like energetically and like attitude wise, like I really look up to Dave Grohl, and I think he's like a really exciting character in the music industry as far as like rock stars are concerned. Read his book earlier this year, and I was really like excited by it. So I think as far as like a massive name, that would be really fun to play with the Foo Fighters, and, you know, open for them or whatever. And you know, they've been around long enough that you could almost call some of their stuff classic rock, but they're still like relevant in the modern sense.
Hey, it's not classic rock.
Almost.
God.
I was talking about this the other day. I was like, oh yeah, you know, 2003. I'm like, shit, that was 20 years ago. Shit.
Anyways, it's alternative. Ultimately, it's alternative rock, and that's like, I think alt rock, indie pop, like that's where Kevin McMahon sits. So like, as you were saying it, I've never really thought about Tame Impala being that band, but like they would be a really cool, like more modern.
Who?
Tame Impala. Yeah, like I didn't realize how big they were until I saw them at Coachella on the same stage and night as Radiohead, and I was like, oh, they're also a big deal, I guess.
I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, they're cool. They're like very indie rock, like a lot of the synthesizer, like creative songwriting, like trippy, but also like modern and catchy. I think that would be pretty cool. There's some like Long Beach bands like Rival Sons that would be cool to play with. And then another one came to mind when you asked, and now it's escaping me. But
so you know what I was thinking was Dave Matthews and Counting Crows.
Dave Matthews for sure. I actually thought that name. Thanks for the reminder. I'm not as big a Counting Crows fan. I don't have an issue with them. I just don't know their catalog that well. But Dave Matthews for sure.
See, I'm a huge Counting Crows fan, and I feel like you'd have been their circus tour would have been so perfect for you, because they're like you were talking about earlier, where they're a band that might grab a song like something off of August and Everything in Between, which was their first big hit. Like they could grab a song from that we consider as like a slow, like kind of jam, and the next thing you know, they've sped it up completely, and they're all in with electric guitars, and you're like, what the hell am I listening to? And then they end all their shows where all the bands that were involved in the show come out on stage and just jam a couple of songs together. They're that, like, if you've never seen them, I can't, like, I've probably seen them like 4 or 5 times, and I've had a friend of mine who's probably seen them about 20 or 30 times.
Awesome.
Like
another band, a Michigan band, actually, Dibs, is Lord Huron. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a modern band. I met their guitar player in 2014, and we kept in touch. And I've just watched them blow up, because when I met him, he was like, they were just kind of becoming really successful. I think I've heard of Fozzy. I'd have to check them out. Thanks, Nathan.
That would be, oh God, what the hell's the wrestler's name? Can't think of the pro wrestler's name. He's the lead singer for Fozzy, and they're legit. God, what the hell's his name, Dibs? The pro wrestler. But they're legit, like,
yeah,
they're in that Nickelback, Stain kind of vibe. I can't think of the name of the pro wrestler right now. Now I'm going to put you on spot for a second, Kevin. I know you weren't prepared for this.
Uh-oh.
No one was prepared, but I'm trying to figure out. So it's probably your left shoulder.
Chris Jericho.
Jericho. Chris Jericho, the pro wrestler Chris Jericho, is the lead singer for Fozzy, and he's legit. Like, they're a legit. When I first heard about him, I'm like, is this like some kind of, like stupid, like, look, I'm in a band, but I'm a wrestler? No, he's a legit musician. You know who else is a legit musician? Is the hell is his name from? This is my problem in life. I remember no names, Kevin, at all. Mm-hmm. Just had the thing with Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is like a legit, like, if you find, like, he can sing in the entire 9 yards, but there's a guitar over your left shoulder.
There is.
Would you be willing to serenade Dibs and play something? I don't care, something that you feel like maybe nobody's heard yet that they should hear, or you can play some. I almost did it again. Blue Windbreaker. I almost said blue suede.
Blue suede velvet smoking jacket.
Yeah, blue suede smoking jacket. That is even better. Would you be willing to serenade? Are you do you have the vibe right there? And all I can say is,
Well, baby sister, I don't think you can get $50.
But Adam West.
no, it's John Wayne.
John Wayne.
How embarrassing. Yeah, this guitar is more of a collector.
I was gonna say that's a display piece. That's too beautifully displayed to not play.
I don't know anything.
It was signed by Tom Morello at the guitarist
know.
Against the Machine a number of years ago. So, and then it broke. I was still playing it, but it actually broke, so I just hang it now. But I could play you something. There's other guitars back here.
If you're down,
yeah, sure.
Are you down?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Actually, I did, but I did.
You totally did. It's gonna be like this awkward.
Oh, there's only like 8 guitars leaning up against the back
I
wall.
don't know what I'm gonna play. How can I find a guitar?
He just turns and there's just 8.
That was one of those like, Sean, I wasn't prepared to play something for you. I don't know which one of these instruments I could use.
So before you start playing, what is your guitar? Do you have a brand of choice? Obviously, you've got your Fenders that are the big ones, but I know that there's some smaller ones out there too. But
so the electric guitar I've been playing since high school is called G&L, which was Leo Fender's second guitar. Company after Fender. And then by coincidence, I've gone both acoustic guitars that have lasted me the longest have been ones where I went to Guitar Center seeking a Taylor or a Martin and then wound up buying something else. Or not even Guitar Center, but the shop where I was going to buy a guitar.
Yep.
And, this one I got in 2019, I think. It's a Takamine. It's a Japanese brand. They're fairly large. They're not as big as the other two I mentioned, but I really like this guitar a lot. And then I used to have a Korean guitar made by Parkwood. That one got stolen a number of years ago. That's when I got this one after. So those have been my favorite acoustics. But I love the G&L. I haven't bought a new electric guitar in a long time. I'm also, side note, I'm not someone who's like, oh, I can't produce. I don't have the right gear. Oh, I can't play. I need to buy a new guitar. Like, I don't buy into any of that. I'm like, you can get more out of the same guitar indefinitely. So like, I don't.
Yep. That's the only guitar. Yep. I had a Fender Strat for a while, like just the classic, typical starter kit for I want to learn how to play guitar, and yeah. So
I had a Tyco, probably maybe a Tyco or a Metallic.
I do often use a pick. I'm not right now because my house is in disarray, and I just grabbed the.
And I stuck his ass right on the spot.
I don't know how much time we have or whatever.
This is my show. We got all the time you want. Play what the hell you want to play.
All right, this song came to mind. It's a fan favorite. It's a little. It can be shocking at times, but we'll see how it goes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I like shocking.
I think you're pretty perfect for me. My heart loves your electricity on fire. And don't you think you and me could write a story bigger than the sum of she plus he? I'm talking about we got all the same dreams. And I see who you be, more than just a student. No more being prudent with you. Fuck your boyfriend, come and dance with me. Hey baby, can I keep you company? You've been teasing, I'm beseeching you. I'm tired of lying, and I'm trying to do right by you. Trying to do right by you. Trying to do right by you. 99 cigarettes and 99 decisions later, I'm still falling for you, believing in something greater. But we got all the same friends, and I can't just pretend we're a couple students. Maybe I'm too prudent for you. What can I do? Fuck your boyfriend, come
me, baby? Can I keep you company? You've been teasing, I'm beseeching you. I'm tired of lying, and I'm trying to do right by you. Trying to do right by you. Trying to do right by you. Then we'll leave it at that. There's more, but you know.
I don't even know. I don't even know if the the clapping is good enough. That's fucking phenomenal, dude.
Dude, that was so
that's
cool.
amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, that's so great. Fuck your boyfriend.
Yeah, fuck him.
No, man, it's just the fucking sorry, swearing. The vibe of it, man. It's just that. Even with something like that, it's just such a relaxing, like fun. Just have a beer to it. Just sit outside and just give zero fucks. Like that's how I feel when I listen to that.
You're Kevin. There is another. I know we went over some rules of the show. There's one extra rule, and I guess now that Dibs is, and for those of you who haven't figured it out, Dibs is he's becoming my sidekick with this and moving in and trying, when I can take some days off and everything. So, because New York City Comic-Con's coming up next week and I'm going to be in the city, and I think Dibs is going to take over next week. We're going to see. We're going to see if he can handle it. If he fucks this up like polio, we're going to see how well it goes from there.
Hey, polio just means I don't have legs. We'll be all right.
Yeah, go get vaccinated. Look, get vaccinated, people. Shit works. Been working for a long time. And somebody's going to call me up, hit me up, and be like, "No, don't talk about that." Science. Who knows? But God, I'm like you're just so talented. But there is one other rule, and this rule is when you walk the red carpet somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you get to that, when you get to that point that you're going for a Grammy, there is a rule on this show.
Okay.
You have to take me. I don't need to be on a camera. I don't need to be shit. I just need to be your plus one.
Okay.
I'll wear a ball gown for you. I've seen it.
Fuck, I'll wear. I don't care.
You think we can get the whole? Can you twirl when we enter?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care. Nate, I don't need to change the rating of this show. It's just, it's always been an adult show. It's just, trust me, this is the lightest we've ever been. But I promise you need, so if you need, I'll make this deal. If it means I got to wear a ball gown, I'll wear a ball gown to go on the red carpet. And I promise you, I got nice legs.
All that running in the Marines.
Look, I got nice. And now I'm
wearing those boots and boot bands, you don't have to shave your legs.
No, bro. That's a whole nother thing Dibs and I can talk about after. I pulled out a set of boots that I had forever, a pair of Bates. Bates are garbage. Bates will never be my sponsor, so I'm not worried about it. But I pulled out a pair of Bates boots to go cut my grass the other day. Old boots. I was like, I'll just cut the grass in these. I walked in the house and I'm like, why do these feel so wonky on me? And I looked down and I didn't realize the sole on them had started to disintegrate.
Oh, geez.
They're like, there's a boot company called out by you in Cali called Danner, Danner. I own a pair of Danner boots I bought in 1996. I remember when I bought them because my feet kept getting wet in the old leather. We called them Cadillacs. And my feet would always get wet when it rained. And I wanted something with a little bit of Gore-Tex in it. This was Gore-Tex was first becoming big and Thinsulite and all that. I've had these boots since 1996 and all they need on them is a new sole. That's it. The leather is still good. Everything's, and that company, they don't pay me. I wish they would. You can take those boots and send them right back to Danner right now and they'll recondition them, redo them and send you back. Those same boots I paid like $180 for in 96 or $300 and some dollars now.
Epic.
Yeah, you guys, that is the best boot company in the world to me. I listen to these people that are with these weird boots, and I'm like, I told you we make left turns here. Danner boots are the shit.
Danner boots.
Danner boot.
Well, going back to that with me swearing, music is definitely like a huge. I mean, I've said it before. Like music got me through deployments. Music got me through some crap time. So it's one of those things like you feel it, and it's especially being former military. It's like let's swear because that's how I show that I'm passionate about something. So
Nice.
yeah, that's.
Well, you know what though, but I don't want to get ready to cut this off. But you bring up a great point, Dibs. Is there any albums or songs for you, Kevin? Like for me, for example, you know, we talk about. I was talking about Counting Crows. When I hear their second album, and it's escaping me right now, it reminds me of my second of a deployment. When I hear the Wallflowers, that was an album I listened to throughout that entire. That's back when you had to stick a CD on, and that was all I had was a bunch of CDs, and so that was one that I listened to all the time. Was the Wallflowers? Is there any like music that when? And I imagine there's a lot of it, but that's something that just really inspires you or kind of sticks with you that you just kind of go, that's my go-to. Even styling, like you can hear what my styling. I really like that. Like vocals are very important to me. Yes, there's got to be a good sound to it, but I'm listening to what you're saying throughout it. So, and I want to actually be able to understand you. Like I have no other side of that is I love Pantera. Cowboys from Hell is an amazing album. Like that album is a beast. Judas Priest is getting ready to come and play here in Albany, and I love Hellbent for Leather. That's one of the best albums ever created, in my opinion. Razor's Edge, again, another one. But I got kind of this vibe of what I like. What is it for you that kind of like you're turning on the radio and you're vibing to it? What is it for you or brings back those memories when you need those memories?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because my generation has been, I haven't been listening to albums the same way I used to for the last like 10 years, right? I mean, I still enjoy them. I will get obsessed with the single and listen to it on repeat for a whole day, and then I'll playlist stuff out. But like the albums that came to mind first was like Dark Side of the Moon. When I hear that album, it's a great album, but I also like, it brings me back to like playing video games in 7th grade because I would just be like by myself, like playing Zelda and like listening to Dark Side. That was like when I first heard it. So like there's a very like visual, visceral experience I have when I think of that album that it happens to involve like video games, which is random. But like I was driving back from that ultra marathon in Oregon, 16-hour drive when you get a flat tire, by the way. And I put on this album by a band called Group Love, which was, they really blew up in like 2010. Probably.
I remember Group Love.
Yeah, and they're still around, but like they had this album come out called Never Trust a Happy Song. Yay, that's awesome, Kristen.
And Krista, who was a guest last week, she's actually very politically connected in California. She's very politically connected, and I got to agree with her. For those who can't say it, she totally agrees with our guest. Music is great therapy. It can heal your soul.
Beautiful. But yeah, I love that. I love the album. Both this vibe of it is very like happy and high energy. That it's very tongue in cheek. Like the name of the album is funny. Like Never Trust a Happy Song. It's like, well, why not? And it's like I get that feedback a lot. Like, wow, your set was great. Really happy. Not all the lyrics were happy, but the song. Like, so I identify with that, and I think that. And also when you see them live, it's like a good mix of men and women, and like just the energy, but also like these are tight, good songs. So it's like somewhere between fun and like exciting visually, and I just hear all that in the album. So that's one that I just went back to it this weekend after not hearing it for years and years, and it was still like, oh yeah, I love this album. So
I just introduced that Dark Side of the Moon to my 5-year-old the other day.
Nice.
And he dug it. You know what? Another one, Dibs. Do you remember Supertramp, Dibs?
Yes.
Supertramp Breakfast in America is another one of those albums that I could listen all the way through and has a very childhood, strong memories for me. That was like, for me, not to get too sappy, but that's like my parents divorced. My mom and I moved into a new house, and somebody had given me that tape, and I listened to that thing over and over, and not in a sad way. It was just, wow, this music is amazing. I really like it. It wasn't depressed over it. It was just, it attaches to all the memories from them. Supertramp Breakfast in America, which again has one of the coolest covers also. If you've never seen the cover, it's the waitress holding the platter with New York City on it.
Ooh, cool. I like Supertramp. Check it out.
See, and I think everyone knows, like, I feel like everyone knows that connection with music, but I feel like, especially with all the social media and everything, like, it's become so much bigger. I mean, if you look, spoiler alert for anyone who watches Stranger Things touched on it this last season, how powerful music is, because it pulls. I mean, it's obviously got its meaning during the show, but if you kind of take it down and break it down, like, it pulls you out of really dark places. And it's one of those things, like, when you're sitting there talking, you were talking about someone like music that you can understand. I think one of the coolest things that I realized was, if you ever listen to Slipknot, which obviously is like screaming, like, loud stuff, and then people are like, oh yeah, like, I love Stone Sour too. I'm like, you realize it's the same lead singer, right? Like, no way. Like, no, it's Corey Taylor, like, is the same lead singer. And I love when you can get a band that has such that dimension. And it's kind of like that, going from electric to acoustic. Talk about songs that mean something, Sean. Five Finger Death Punch has Wrong Sign of Heaven, which is about PTSD and stuff. So
I'm with you, but
man, I'm really feeling like Breakfast in America, Supertramp.
Five Finger
yeah.
Death.
Yeah.
Well, right, no, it's soul. It's into my soul right there.
It's because they have it. They've got their electric, like, really hard version, and then they've actually got an acoustic version. So it's just that ability to translate the different style of music with the same bands.
Well, that's you know what you bringing up the translation, and I'm curious. And folks, if you're still hanging with us, thank you. We're this shit happens when I'm enjoying a conversation. Is how much? I gotta give this one to Kristen. Toad, she loves Toad the Wet Sprocket from yesteryears. It was a range of emotion. Absolutely. Toad the Wet Sprocket was a phenomenal. Jimmy Eat World falls under that one. What was the one? Possum something. They were from Texas. It was something about possum. It was a Texas band. And I'll have to think about that one. But artists today, I don't feel like a lot of them do that. So you used to, think about like Poison, your hair bands. They would always have that ballad song. Why don't your artists do that today? Like, I was just, even love songs. Like, I was listening to on Sirius satellite radio. I was listening to the channel Groove. It's all like 90s music, like that 90s through early 2000s, and they're playing like Tony, and these like Black Street and all these bands, and I'm like, yeah, we used to like jam, dance, like grind to this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, and I don't listen to a lot of the newer stuff that's out there, and maybe I'm completely just an old fart at this point, but I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, my kids listen to like mumble rap and just stuff that I'm like, this is not good. Like, where does this change at, or what have we lost? Do you know, Kevin, or is it just we're all old farts?
No, I mean, I think it's changed. It's not necessarily lost. Like, rap is an evolution of like jazz to blues to rap. Like, there's so much energy in it, and I think the sound of it may not be for everyone, but even Drake has sad songs where he's like singing, and it's not all mumble rap, but I think it's just, you hear on the radio what resonates with the most people, and that tends to be something that's maybe a little less familiar than what we're used to in the past. But
so do you have a band that, so if you had a band that you feel is kind of all, you're never going to know them unless you recommend them, what do you have a band that you would recommend like that?
I like
that I can find, that I'd be able to find that.
I don't know. I mean, this band has definitely got, I've felt this way about this band for a long time. I think they're a lot more popular now, but they're called Phony People, phony.ppl. I think they're it's like a 5-piece band, 5 guys. They do like hip hop, rap, pop combo. Really cool band. So I really like them, and they used to play. They're playing bigger and bigger venues now, but I saw them years ago, and they're still pretty small, and they like hung out after the show and talked to everyone. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they have like any major hits, so you'd still need someone to turn you on to them, and then maybe.
No, it's fun. I like trying to find those.
Yeah,
like you wouldn't find them unless someone recommended to you type bands.
Well, I'll tell you got to go find Evil Voice. She was a couple weeks ago. Everybody's got to go find the Kevin Land Band. They got to find Teo G. You got to go find these people. You got to go find Clay. They're all here.
Yeah, and some other Long Beach bands are like Manuel the Band. They're on Spotify, and then there's one called Solar System, but it's like Soul, like SOUL.
Oh, I like that.
That's a good one too. So a couple others for you are way less well known than Phony People.
You got to go find Isaiah Gill. He's another one. North by North.
Punk is a doornail.
Punk is a doornail. There we go. That's another one. You got to go find all, because you know why you can find them all, Kevin? Because they're all playing here at the Above the Bar podcast.
All here.
They're all here. We got to get ready. We're going to get ready to shut this thing down. Got to close the bar up. We got to make sure all of our stools are pushed in. We got to make sure everything's situated here. So we got the show tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's there in Long Beach. What's the venue again?
Kubo, Kubo. Check out Sweet Sounds on Instagram or Kevin Land Band, and you'll find more details.
So make sure, and that's at Kevin Land Band. Not the Kevin Land Band, like I've jacked up at Kevin Land Band. The banner that's running across, if you're watching the live, is completely correct. My verbiage is what is not completely correct. So make sure you're reaching out and you're checking that Instagram, Facebook. He needs more. Look, when this is done, he does not have enough Facebook followers to Kevin Land Band. I need more followers. So make sure you go on there and you follow Kevin Land Band. He needs a lot more followers on there, so that everyone can know what's going on with him out there. And then we need to find venues to make him come out to the right coast. He's too much time on the left coast. Come out to the right coast. This is where you need to be. Look. So Kristen asked, where are they playing next in Cali? Say it one more time. They're in Long Beach, Kristen. So which I think isn't far from you, but I don't know California geography at all. I just know it's out there on the left.
Yeah, we're in Long Beach tomorrow night, and then late October we're in somewhere in Orange County. I'll have to follow up on that.
Wait a sec. I think that's where Kristen is in Orange County. She'll tell me here in a minute, or put a message here, Kristen, or send me a text. I think she's in Orange County.
Kristen can reach out on Instagram or Facebook, and we can fill her in on the latest.
Make it happen there. So we've got that coming up. We've got God, I almost did it. I don't know why. I can't wait to listen to your music. I will follow Kevin Land Band. Look at that. See?
Thanks,
making fans already. And then we have Blue Windbreaker, which is just a phenomenal song. I'm telling you, like every time I say it, I want to play the video that I got just because it sounds that good. Yeah, she's in OC. She's in Orange County. I thought so. So make sure you're checking those things out, making sure you're checking out Kevin Land Band. Anything else you got coming up here that you want everybody to know about?
Yeah, we got a new song coming out at the end of October. So yeah, follow along on all the things you said, and you'll get the update on that. But new single late October. I think we're eventually going to do a video for Blue Windbreaker. We've been shut down by a lot of like scheduling and venue conflicts, but that's in production. So video and the song this year, and then more next year. So just follow along.
I've already got your merch figured out. Also, at every one of your shows, you could sell Blue Windbreakers with the emblem on it. I'm like, it's the low hanging fruit. I've got.
I'll design them and mock them up for you.
Well, there you go. Dibs does design, so Dibs can do your design for you. You'll be all set. I mean, beautiful. I just see like this amazing show where everyone's got different Blue Windbreakers on. That would just be so much fun.
I love it.
It would be so much fun. Dibs, you got anything coming up here that you need everybody to know about?
Nope. I'm just gonna keep. I'm still designing. If anyone needs any banners, literally anything you can think of that you need a creative edge to, let me know.
All right. And then next week, folks, we've got Dylan Quill coming on. We're talking sci-fi. Dibs is going to probably take that one for me because I will be in New York City Comic-Con taking pictures, posting them for the show. I will be on a scooter the entire time because I tore my ACL. So no walking the floor this year. It will be scooting the floor. And my best friend who I was like, you should get a scooter too. Like you have it. He's like, I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I was like, I won't. I can't walk too far before, like, especially if you've never been to any of those shows, you don't get to take full 30-inch steps. It's all like
you just feel your ACLs and MCLs disconnecting. Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. Like I just know how and I don't have an ACL in my left leg right now. So yeah, it'll be just joyous. But a week after that, I get my surgery. So I'm looking forward to that. So we've got that coming up. Dylan next week. So make sure you tuning in 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. As always, look, Kristen's on it today. She's hanging out with us. She says she wants to buy a jacket. They need to put them on their website. Easy money. Don't wait for the concert. Sell now. Look at that. She's ready to buy blue Windbreaker from you, brother.
KevinLandband.com has t-shirts. We'll get the Windbreaker up there ASAP.
Say, look at that. Dibs will help design you a Windbreaker.
Perfect.
I'll have one designed tomorrow.
Look, you don't understand. He's a psychopath. He will absolutely have one.
Send it over.
And as always, there, folks. If we talk about sticker and a cause, we talk about things that are going on. Maybe you know somebody that you think would be a great guest for the show, and you're like, "Hey, I know somebody who has a legitimate band and does things." And please, and when I say legitimate band, folks, I do not mean hell. I don't give a shit. It could be like Silverchair and your kids in the garage. Silverchair still, they just released a new album. Here's one for you. It's Blast from the Past. They just released a new album. So make sure you reach out to us, and you can find us at all times: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, even our email. It's all the Above the Bar Podcast. Email is theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. So make sure you reach out to us, send us a message, let us know what you got going on. As always, the guest gets look, and this is a fact. I'm going to tell you, Kevin, this is a real fact. She does know people. She knows, like I've told her before, if I ever get into the political arena, it will be led by Kristen Manna. She's going to have to figure out how she's going to do it in New York, but we're going to do it. But as we do on every single episode, Dibs, do you have anything? Do you have any final words, Dibs? Do you have anything?
Thanks for having me, as usual, as a co-host, man. I love it. I'm definitely going to be listening to a lot of your music. I absolutely, definitely will be putting that through my, as Pat McAfee says, through my ear holes. So I appreciate you sharing that, serenading me per request of Sean. So
of course.
So Kevin, as we do on every episode, the guest gets the final word. So what's the final word, brother?
Do what you love, take care of your family, and sing along.
All righty. And don't log off. We got to talk, and be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.